This is a fight for justice for our most innocent and our most vulnerable that requires all of us. And our country has a long history of acknowledging injustices and doing our best to rectify them. And the women of the 18th century were told, "We don't want your minds." And in the 18th century, women were barred from universities. And the women of the 19th century were told, "We don't want your vote." And they were barred in the 19th century from the voting booth. And the women of the 20th century were told, the women just of our last century were told, "We don't want your children." That's the injustice I want to talk about tonight. That the last century and even today, women are told, "We don't want your children." And children are told, "You are not wanted." Last month, as many of you know, Hugh Hefner passed away. We remember Hefner as a pioneer of the sexualization of women in the 20th century. He established an entire industry that profited from the sexualization and objectification of women. In an interview with Vanity Fair in 2010, Hugh Hefner's interview commented, "Feminists still oppose you for treating women as objects," at least some feminists. Hefner responded, "They are objects." He went on proudly, "Playboy fought for what became women's issues, including birth control. We were the amicus curiae, friend of the court, in Roe v. Wade, which gave women the right to choose." Of course, Hefner's playmates couldn't be proper objects if they were mothers. There was no take your child to work day at the Playboy Mansion. For a mother with a child is too human for her objectifiers. To be an object, you can't be a subject. And isn't every mother the subject, the guardian of her child's trust and emotional and physical security? To rob a mother of her humanity, objectifiers must divorce a mother from her children. In the 8 years leading up to the Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion in this country, Roe v. Wade, Hefner published articles in Playboy magazine, almost every single magazine, that called for the complete legalization of abortion. And tragically, Hugh Hefner got what he wanted. In 1973, in the name of privacy, our Supreme Court rejected the most basic human rights of a whole group of people in our country, rejecting the first human right, which is life, without which all other rights aren't even possible for our most vulnerable Americans, children in the womb. Since then, in the name of women, powerful and a well-funded abortion industry and lobby, led by Planned Parenthood, has spread like cancer and has killed nearly 60 million children. Nearly 60 million of our sons and daughters have been killed by abortion. I want to share one story out of those 60 million with you from a young mom named Michelle from New Mexico. She writes, "At age 18, I had my life all planned out until my birth control failed and I became pregnant. I knew what I would do because I not only believed the lie that it's a clump of cells, I thought abortion was the most responsible decision that a young woman in my situation could make. It was the only option that I thought that I would be able to forget, that wouldn't destroy my plans, that would affect my life the least. I was selfishly wrong on all three. During the procedure, I felt a sharp pierce on my left side. I heard myself cry out, and then it was over. I now know when my child was severed from my body, even anesthesia couldn't stop the motherly instinct to cry out. It wasn't pain, it was anguish. I convinced myself to go on with my life, but inside, a part of me was broken because my abortion not only left a hole in my womb, it left a hole in my heart. And now, no matter how many ways I try to fill that hole, it only got deeper. the pain and the grief of mothers and fathers all over our country in the last 45 years, mourning their children. That pain is mocked by the very groups that claim to speak for women today. Planned Parenthood supports social media campaigns encouraging women to shout their abortion, to celebrate their abortion. The reality is, to acknowledge the grief from a loss of a child, we must first acknowledge that that child died. And in an abortion, that abortion killed them. It must be the reason why so many abortion activists maybe have not been able to stop and heal, because they have not yet grieved. They refuse to acknowledge the child. Meanwhile, the political, news media, and entertainment media praise the works of Planned Parenthood, featuring their founder, Cecile Richard, baking pies in People magazine, putting their pin on Oscar award-winning actresses. In fact, led by the $1.2 billion Planned Parenthood, the twisted ideology of abortion has infiltrated the mainstream of American politics today. In recent years, the Democrat Party, which claims to promote social justice, has become the champion of abortion at any time and for any reason. A core campaign promise of Hillary Clinton, also claiming to be a champion for women, was abortion through all 9 months, no restrictions. Democrat politicians now must face a litmus test on abortion. Because of their Democratic support and the support of some pro-abortion Republicans, abortion giant Planned Parenthood is still receiving, as we speak, $1.5 million a day from taxpayers. That's over $500 million every single year from the federal government, and daily, propped up by that cash, they kill 899 of our children. Of all these pro-abortion politicians, celebrities, extreme pro-abortion groups like the National Organization for Women, they all claim to speak on behalf of women and to follow in the legacy of the women's rights movement. But our early feminists, our early women's rights movement rejected abortion and saw it as an injustice against both mothers and children. The early feminists fought for the opportunity of women to walk through the doors of a university, and they prevailed, they succeeded. Our early feminists fought for the opportunity and the right for women to vote, and they won that fight. And in the last 2 centuries, women in our country have walked into classrooms powerful. We've walked into the voting booth powerful. But today, after winning the so-called right to abortion, women walk into abortion facilities powerless. They walk into an abortion facility because they feel that their diploma is at stake. They feel that their husband or their boyfriend doesn't support that child. They are concerned they won't be able to keep their job. And so they submit themselves, their body and their child, to the most ultimate position of powerlessness, to the abortionist's forceps. And the abortion industry, all along, mockingly in the name of women, profits from their pain. The truth is, though, the special power of a woman beyond the powers of our shared humanity lies in our motherhood, both physical and spiritual. Being male and female means something profoundly. To understand maleness or femaleness, we must understand the unique power of a man to be a father and of a woman to be a mother. Sometimes that motherhood and fatherhood is spiritual, sometimes it's biological, but it is always about nurturing and protecting others in only the way that a father can or a mother can. Our mentors, our guides, our patrons, our uncles and aunts, our big brothers and sisters all live out a unique motherhood and fatherhood. And the basis of every society and the only hope for a healthy society, the basic structural unit of all of humanity, is the family. And the family is comprised at its core of the man and the woman and the power they have to bring new life into the world together. I want to share the story and words of one strong mother named Courtney Baker. Live Action recently did a filming series with Courtney and others that we'll be releasing next year. During a routine ultrasound, Courtney and her husband discovered that their preborn child had Down syndrome. Courtney's doctor recommended termination, insisting that their quality of life as parents would be poor if they had a child with Down syndrome. Despite his advice, his insisted advice, the couple refused. After delivering a beautiful and healthy little girl named Emerson, Courtney wrote a letter to her doctor. She writes, "I'm not angry, I'm not bitter, I'm just really sad. I'm sad that the tiny beating hearts you see every day don't fill you with a perpetual awe. I'm sad the intricate details and the miracle of those sweet little fingers and toes and eyes and ears don't always give you pause. I'm sad you were so very wrong to say a baby with Down syndrome would decrease our quality of life. And I'm heartbroken that you might have even said that to a mama even today. But mostly, I'm sad that you'll never have the privilege of knowing my daughter, Emerson. Because you see, Emerson has touched the hearts of thousands. She's given us a purpose and a joy that is impossible to express. She's given us bigger smiles, more laughter, and sweeter kisses than we've ever known. She's opened our eyes to true beauty and pure love. In too many nations across the world, including ours, when bodies are seen as imperfect, especially when there is the potential for suffering, doctors are quick to prescribe abortion. But medicine is meant to care even when it cannot cure. Where there is life, there is hope. We must do our best to alleviate suffering, but never by prescribing death. And when life ends, which it will for all of us at some point, when it ends naturally, we mourn, but it is not ours to take. That is why the Hippocratic oath that the early Greeks took had the admonition, physician, do no harm. Treating the human population as a feedstock for a better breed, for population control experiments and agendas which are popular among the elites, is an old and twisted idea. 100 years ago, they called it eugenics. Today, it's called reproductive health. And it somehow, they say, empowers the parents themselves. But the price of this so-called power is the destruction of our weakest of children. The Down syndrome child, the child who's sick, the child of the wrong race or sex, the child that's seen as poor or unwanted, even the extra embryo in a test tube. As Emerson's mother wrote, who loses in America and in nations across the world when we kill vulnerable children? We do. We lose. By choosing to kill, we've surrendered hope in a better future with them. We lose their joy. We lose their love. We lose the opportunity and privilege to care and sacrifice for them. We lose all the lessons that they would have taught us. And instead, by rejecting them, by aborting them, we grow a little bit colder, harder, and crueler. Is that the kind of world that we want? No, we want a better world. This is why I've devoted my life to this cause. Live Action works to effect change through education and the political process, but primarily education. Working to shape the minds and the hearts of generations to reject abortion and to embrace life. And we won't stop until everyone has been reached, touched, and given the opportunity to change. I want to share a special video with you now of some of the work that's being done every day. The folks that you will see in this video are people from every political background, people that are left and right, most of them who say they're in support of abortion. They're people from Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. We figured that if we can work with people and convince them on the left coast, we have a pretty good chance everywhere. We do pretty well in Texas. But the people you see watching this video are watching, in the video, the people are watching a video of a series that Live Action produced called the Abortion Procedure Series. It is narrated by a former abortionist, Dr. Anthony Levatino. Dr. Levatino explains how the 4 most prevalent abortion procedures are done, how actually abortion is committed, how the child is torn from his or her mother. In the video that you watch, you won't see the procedure itself, but you will see the reaction of people on the street having their first opportunity to really know what abortion is. This video has been shared, this series, over 1 million times on Facebook and viewed over 85 million times. We can watch the video now.
What do you think about abortion?
I'm like hella liberal, so it's like obviously I'm pro-abortion.
There are times when you do need abortion and it's up to that person and their rights and what they want to do.
It's our body, it's our decision, right?
If you're young, it's probably a good thing. If you want to go to college, it's hard with a baby in college.
And would you identify as pro-life, pro-choice, or neither?
Pro-choice, for sure.
Oh my God.
I had no idea this is how abortion takes place, right? Looking at that video and the way it was performed, it's an eye-opener. So, no, I don't think any kid, any baby, any infant, any fetus should go through that. No.
I mean, it seems just in general, anytime you have to kill something, it's inhumane.
So are you saying this is a human life?
I mean, it's definitely present, you know? I mean, yeah, I guess, like, even if you can't afford to, if someone can take care of these babies, I guess, like, don't abort them, you know?
So the videos that you guys showed me has changed my mind. Yes, circumstances, it still makes it hard, but because of the video, I think I kind of have, like, a better idea.
And I felt bothered by it. Kind of like had a little change of mind of being middle of the road to saying maybe I would not be for abortion, no matter what, no matter what the circumstances are.
I had no idea the process was like that. But it seems like they're more humane when they put down animals.
It was kind of disturbing, I guess. I didn't actually know that it was like suctioned out of you and like ripped to pieces.
After especially seeing this video, I realized, no, like abortion is really wrong. Yeah, really, really wrong. Wow.
Would you say that this video changed your mind at all about abortion and your
Absolutely, absolutely. I've never seen it in detail like this. I will show this to my daughter, that this is how they abort children.
It's scary to see, and I hope I will never have to do that, or I will never do that from my point now.
So you changed your mind, it sounds like, from...
Yeah, well, it's hard to say. I mean, I could never say, like, not do an abortion for 100%, but probably 99%, yeah.
Before a law is passed, I think they should include videos such as the video that he showed us. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people would change their mind based on it.
There's so many other options apart from abortion, and I know it sucks and like the consequences and how it happened and why you might want an abortion, but there's always another option, and you just got to suck it up because it's a life.
I'm so happy to say that Live Action sees these sorts of responses all the time. We have these encounters all the time. And we are seeing them across our country and even across the world with millions watching online. And what's so exciting is that there's hundreds of millions of people yet to reach, and the potential is so huge for us to transform the culture that we're in, to transform the hearts and the minds, the thoughts, the feelings about people on abortion. When faced with the reality of what abortion is, as we saw in this video, our instinct, the instinct of the people that we saw to care for the child instantly kicks in. Even if we don't have children of our own, every one of us has this unique tenderness and protectiveness written into our hearts. In this way, we are all mothers and fathers. and we have to draw this tenderness out of the people around us. We are living right now, as you know, in an age of political division, of partisanship. We have to reach across the aisle politically to change hearts. We must reach out to people who disagree with us on a number of other issues. We must invite them to reject abortion with us and labor to honor motherhood and fatherhood and all children. Because after all, don't we kill the love between each other when we accept the killing of our children? How will we as adults, with our many grievances and our many flaws, how will we ever be able to truly respect and love one another if we do not respect the child who is blameless and innocent? As we join hands to protect children and as we unite in our shared humanity to protect the most vulnerable, we affirm the dignity and the value in one another. And as our joined hands help in that noble purpose, we also build bridges of understanding and respect. St. Augustine said, "People travel the world to wonder at the height of the mountains, at the huge waves of the ocean, at the long course of the rivers, at the circular motion of the stars. But people pass by themselves without wondering." St. Augustine is saying how wonderful is the human person, how marvelous is the human person, the greatest of all of God's creation, how worthy of our marvel and our awe. Each one of us are made in the image and likeness of God, loved into existence, made for a purpose, destined for greatness. Let us see the humanity and the value and the preciousness of every child. Let us celebrate the child in her weakness, in her potential, and in her dependency. The women of the 21st century were told, "We don't want your children. We don't have to listen to that voice anymore." Those days are over. Children do not kill our hopes and dreams. They are the best source of our hopes and dreams. We will welcome them. We will protect them. We will celebrate children. The days of objectification and destruction are over. We will stop the federal funding of the biggest abortion chain, Planned Parenthood, and if we have to call out the filibuster to do it, we will do that. And we will enact legislation to enshrine legal protection for the child across our nation at all stages of life. And we will work tirelessly to transform the next generation to know the truth about themselves, their sacred dignity, and the sacred dignity of every person. Together, we can make the 21st century the one where we ended abortion and restored the right to life for all. Thank you.
He made the lane.